And you know something? Let's put it this way. All the things that you see are sociological manifestations. The dancing plague is something that is a phenomena that has to happen. So don't be slitting your throats over this, right? Or your wrists over this. These are sociological phenomena. They occur like wars, right? Like blisters on your body, right? Think about it, right? You know, society manifests. I come from Northern Ireland, right? I mean, come on, right? Anyone who's
Maybe
from
you
a
could
war
share
zone
your
place,
experience, Michael. You grew up during the Troubles. You saw like chaos in the streets that what's happening in America right now, it pales in comparison to.
the one thing that there was, back in the 1970s, there was an IRA leader called Frank Stagg. He went on hunger strike. The fucking city was on lockdown of unimaginable proportions. There was curfew all day and all night. Nobody moved because they thought he was going to die. And if he died, he had sworn that the IRA would literally massacre the whole of Belfast and any Protestant they could get their hands on. That was just one passing anecdote of the way we lived. Nobody could pull up at a chippy at 11 o'clock and not knowing that you come out alive. A pizza parlor, a bar, without having your limbs blown to smithereens, and bombs that would level the whole street, leaving even survivors lifelong with the jitters. This was a daily reality. You think you get into your car and the car in front of you or the car behind you blow up, leaving you maimed, leaving you dead, right? Your children couldn't go to school. IRA held up actual schools. On and on and on I could go. Graveyards just filled with the dead of the police headstones. They have a particular black headstone with the logo of the police on it, right? You're going to tell me that all of those men were an offense? No, the vast majority of them were young men, innocent army men, innocent police. But the graveyards to this day, you can go and see it in Northern Ireland, right? And on I could go. But that type of terrorism, which ran for nearly 25 years, they held a place to ransom, right? And it was only because we had law and order that other buildings weren't destroyed and other atrocities didn't happen. But women and men and children were slaughtered in this nightmare. Wow. Young men, young kids as young as 8 and 9 years old, guys I went to school with, were scouts for the IRA, lookouts. Not the schools I went to, but in my community was both Protestant and Catholic. And we had them on the Protestant side as well, the paramilitaries, right? And kids as young as 7, 8, and 9 were telling the gunmen where to go to kill, to shoot. And we're there at the time that was happening.
Incredible.
They'd be lookouts. Go into that bar there and wait for the fella to go to the toilet, then you give us the nod. That's what happened. They shoot people in the bathroom, shoot them in the bars and the toilets. And it was usually a little young lad who had set it up. I grew up amongst these people, so there's not an element of this kind of shit. And also I grew up amongst them, so that if you say the wrong thing, you're dead, your family's destroyed, right? Had to, walk on eggshells around killers like that. There was people that I knew in school that I told you, you'd bump into them in the street or going to the sweet shop or hanging around the park, they'd come over to you. And these were the kind of people that if they walked away, you were wondering why you were alive. These were people, if you walked a couple of, from the sweet shop back home and they left you at the corner, I'll see you later, you were wondering, what's wrong with them today? Why is my jaw not broken? And, why is there not a knife hanging out of my, sticking out of my neck? And I'm not dead.
That's incredible.
That's just them as, that's just them on a good day. You know what I mean? So yeah, talk about a completely deranged situation that kids have to grow up in. So back to that point, it's just a social phenomena. Handle it. They come and they go. But the main thing for the enlightened person is what's called an enlightened witness. There is such a being. Right? And he's stoical to that point, but he's an observer. He's not altogether stoical because observation is an action. So if you're just thinking, I need to, part of me feels like getting up and doing something, going and waking up my neighbors and all the rest of it, right? You still have a lesson to learn then. Observation, marshalling of the facts is action, because out of that may come a film, a book, right? And so on. So just observe. Don't get sucked into the flow of the masses in the social plague, right? In the dance macabre. Don't feel that you have to join it in order to feel one part of your brain is saying, you're not part of history, or you're not part of what's going on, or you need to make a move too on either side. The day will, if that happens to happen, the day will come. But observation and study is action. So don't be feeling stressful because you feel that you're on the outside of a certain thing. If you've noticed that the press in your particular country or other factions in your country have gone insane, note it, right? Note it, and again, you use your abilities to connect with people who share your views to that extent, and you can work it out, because you're here to study, you're here to learn, and you're here to graduate. It's not much different than being in a regular school, only it's the school of reality.